Hello everyone, I'm here to present. Today I'll take the road less traveled. My name is Powen and I am a PhD candidate in computer science. My thesis is in the field of spatial user interaction, meaning I obsess over the concept of space a lot. Typically, I work with spatial interaction on a small scale. Today, I'd like to talk about spatial interaction on a larger scale. So let's talk about geolocation games. For this challenge, one of the judging criteria is how engaging it is. The biggest and most engaging geolocation game is, without a doubt, Pokemon Go from Niantic Games. What made Pokemon Go so engaging is also a source of a lot of issues. It is perhaps so engaging that it prevents other geolocation games from gaining traction. Even well-known IP like Harry Potter from the same studio got cancelled. Is there space for other geolocation games? Let's go for a game that engages the player differently. While most games require active engagement, there are other games that make use of passive engagement. In Street Pass, you simply travel around with your Nintendo 3DS to collect resources for various mini-games. In the game Neko Atsume, you have to close the game and come back later to discover new cats in your backyard. In the idle game genre, the game progresses and resources accumulate without player input. This leads to our game, a role-playing game where the player character will automatically perform actions based on the player's geolocation and previous commands. And this leads to a different way to engage with the game. Take for example my commute to USC. Typically, I take the 110 north. As I drive, my character will collect these three items automatically from the terrain of the route I take. By intentionally taking the local and slower route, my character will be spending more time to gather these four different items in different locations. It may just be enough incentive for me to take a different route. Let's talk about the specific location-based experience. We had a few examples of what they can be, but you can already imagine going to the hospital to heal, school to learn, supermarket to buy resources. So instead, let's talk about Home Sweet Home. The player's home serves as the main base of operation. The different excursions bring resources and experience to the player character, but it is back in the home base that the player can improve the character and the base for the long term. Home is the time for player to actively play and then perhaps think about their future trips. As you may have already noticed, this is a game that shapes user behavior, but doesn't have to be just about a game experience. It can also be a productivity tool. Given the connection with real life, why not also help nudge the player to what they want to do? You can go to the gym to work on the physical staff for you and your character. While at home though, the player can make use of Link Fitness app or self-report their work hours. Grow alongside your character. In summary, the player live your normal lives, take different routes when you can, actively engage when you want, grow alongside your character. So, today, let's take the road less traveled. Let's make an experience that makes use of passive engagement for a different audience. A passive engagement based game for busy people. Thank you.
I think it's super smart to do a practice and start to investigate the lightning in a bottle effect of Pokemon Go and the conceptual success around that and why it is so hard to duplicate. So I think you're on the right track with something. The idea of just sort of this light touch, move around a different route and then find and gather rewards and clues that way. Do you see that as something that eventually could be competitive with Pokemon Go? Or, I mean, do you see that kind of success metrics with something like this that isn't quite the level of engagement, but just more of a passive engagement model?
So I think there could be a lot more research done in the passive engagement space. So like sometimes there's something that really bugs you in the back of your mind, and that could be more powerful than active engagement. In the case of Pokemon Go, I think it's more important to try to fight for a different amount of space. In fact, this can be a game that you play alongside Pokemon Go because you don't necessarily have to have your phone out, right? It's just simply have to have the game installed and that provide the data for the geolocation. So when the player gets back home, where they cannot really be playing Pokemon Go, they can continue playing this game. So I think they occupy a different niche.
Yeah, it's good. Do you think you could tie it to the Apple Watch ecosystem and the health kit and the Android? So it's a health thing that's constantly just connected if you're wearing a watch, and then you would see the updates on your watch as opposed to your phone?
Yes, for sure. So that's one of the aspects. The other stuff we mentioned are like linking to language apps such as Duolingo. So your success in Duolingo learning a different language could transfer to some kind of bonus of your player character.
Thank you. That's great.
Have you thought about any collaborative aspects to gamifying this where you actually could have a team experience, which is I know one of the things around Pokemon Go is it was individualized with my son would ask, hey, can we go to the library? I know that there's these 3 Pokemon there. We pick up 4 of his friends, we all go in the car, we all experience kind of the same thing of getting those Pokemon. But one of the things I thought is the collaboration aspect of tying it into location, and the other aspect of you changed your route intentionally to go achieve or obtain several objects or assets. What about the ability for me as a competitive player to go intercept that asset and take it away from you or get to it before you do? Have you kind of factored in those type of competitive type edges and what the rewards or penalties might be for taking an object that was already claimed or things like that?
I want you on
Yeah.
my team, Marty.
Yes, but due to time, we didn't really have a chance to talk about it. But the same thing that you do in Pokemon Go, going to the gym to fight a special monster or collaborating with other players can certainly be done here, right? It's just that you choose to do it when you have the time. So you go to a specific location, let's say Starbucks, and this particular Starbucks serves as a gym or a arena, some kind of competition space, so that you and other players can meet up there and do the typical things you would do in an actively engaged game like Pokemon Go. But we want to make sure that you're not constantly on your phone and then walking into traffic, and that you can enjoy the game and feel like you're making progress, even though you're not pulling out the phone that often, right? And also saves on your battery, which is great.
Yeah.
Other things is that you could also go into, let's say, a mall with a specific location so that your character can be transferred onto a different virtual entertainment, right? So it's kind of like, oh, I upload my character to play like something like a fighting game. So your progression gets to be used in certain specialized locations.
Yeah. I think it's a really interesting idea, and you hit the nugget on why I quit playing Clash of Clans is it was taking up way too much time.
Yeah.
And my interaction when I was expecting and would have liked for the game to start predicting kind of my fight patterns, a type of teams that I was building, or literally type of potions that I deployed when and where, and that predictive analysis and learning isn't built into the game. And it took up too much of my time, so I stopped playing it. So
Yeah.
I like the direction you're headed with this.
A lot of games certainly try to make it your entire lifestyle, whereas here we could potentially augment your existing lifestyle, right? Encourage you to go to the gym, to go out to the beaches and live your life as opposed to live a game.
I would love it if you could make a game that would make me go to the gym. So thank you.
All right, on
So
that
I'm just-
note,
oh,
go
sorry.
ahead.
I was
Connie,
just
go
going to
ahead.
ask, I'm assuming then that when you were talking about a productivity tool, it being a productivity tool, that you're talking about that, the way you're going, it's taking you to the gym, it's taking you to the beach. Is that correct?
Yes, but at the same time, you don't necessarily have to go to the gym. You could just say, I'm going to be studying right now for an hour. And then your character is going to be doing the same thing. So its mental intelligence stats is going to go up.
Mhm.
And you don't have to really worry about people gaming it, because regardless of whether they choose to level up their game, or whether they're studying or doing gym stuff at home, their character is going to be progressing anyway. So they're just kind of matching their character to what they're actually doing in real life.
Great. Thank you.
Okay.
Did you consider this as a sort of a platform-like idea for mini games?
Come again?
Did you consider this potentially as a platform for mini games? You know, games that don't span large areas; they only happen in a small area or even a single location.
Not particularly. Mostly just like a role-playing game where you build up your avatar. And honestly, like the whole buzz with the metaverse, this is kind of what it could go into. So as a platform holder like Epic or like Oculus, it would make a lot of sense for them to have something like this for their AR tools and whatnot, right? So in your AR OS, you will have a character like this that you manage and grow with you. And that same character can then be used in different games, not just one particular game, because that character represents you. So I will have a character that maybe spends a lot of time studying, so maybe more of a mage character as opposed to, a strongman. And that character could be used in, let's say, an AR version of Fortnite or something like that, or a completely different game.
You got to go to the gym to level up.
Yeah.
So you could
Very
be
good.
multiple characters though, correct?
Right. So that depends on how high level this is integrated. If this is integrated on the platform level with the OS, then you could use this as a selling point for people to use Meta as opposed to using Apple, right? But if we don't have a high level support, then it is just going to be one of the game. And if it becomes successful, people are going to copy it, and you're going to have 50 versions out there. Then at that point, it's not going to be as good. So maybe it would be good if someone at the higher level, or maybe perhaps a lower level operating system, can take this and run with it. So that's where I'm really here for, to advocate for like a passive engagement type of games.